Bet some of you had no idea you were going to find out you were oppressed today. That's just how it works. But that's not the only thing that is, shall we say, a little problematic. Now, do you guys remember maybe like a month ago or so, I streamed a school board meeting from Exeter, New Hampshire, when the school board was like basically unveiling their social justice plan to the community, and the community was responding live. And all those based parents got up and asked exactly the right questions. Was anyone around for that particular live stream? Because that live stream was awesome. It was awesome because all these parents they got up and they totally eviscerated these people by asking exactly the right questions. But I bring that up because in that meeting, one of the things that one of the woke parents wanted to discuss was, why aren't they calling justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion JEDI? And apparently there's a reason for it. Apparently the term JEDI is problematic for describing programs that promote justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. They're meant to be heroes within the Star Wars universe, but the Jedi are inappropriate symbols for justice work. Congratulations, Jedis are now oppressors. This from Scientific American. The acronym JEDI has become a popular term for branding academic committees and labeling STEM with two M's. I didn't realize that STEM got another M. Okay, that's exciting. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine initiatives focus on social justice issues. Used in this context, JEDI stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. In recent years, the acronym has been employed by a growing number of prominent institutions and organizations, including the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. Because if there's anyone that we want practicing equity, it is the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. At first glance, JEDI may simply appear to be an elegant way to explicitly build justice into a more common formula for DEI, an abbreviation for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Notice they never quite got around to adopting the DIE acronym popularized by GAD-SAD, because of course they're not going to do that. Productively shifting our ethical focus in the process, JEDI has these important affordances, but also inherits another notable set of meanings. It shares a name with the superheroic protagonists of the science fiction Star Wars franchise, the Jedi. Well, one might argue that Star Wars was actually the first to popularize the term Jedi, and that if it hadn't been for Star Wars popularizing the term Jedi, we really wouldn't be able to have this conversation right now. Right now. Within the narrative of Star Wars, to be a member of the Jedi is seemingly to be a paragon of goodness, a principal guardian of order, and protector of the innocent. This set of pop cultural associations is one that some Jedi initiative and advocates explicitly allude to. Whether intentionally or not, the labels we choose for our justice-oriented initiatives open them up to a broader universe of associations, branding them with meaning and, in the case of Jedi, binding them to consumer brands. Through its connections to Star Wars, the name Jedi can inadvertently associate our justice work with stories and stereotypes that are a galaxy far, far away from the values of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. The question we must ask is whether the conversations started by those connections are the ones we want to have. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. My husband is the Star Wars fan in my family. I've seen all the Star Wars movies. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed some of them more than I enjoyed others. But for all the Star Wars nuts in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Princess Leia like one of the first kick-ass women heroes, especially in like sci-fi movies? Wasn't that a pretty big moment for diversity, equity, and inclusion to have like the main role, a hero role in an action, sci-fi, whatever the hell you want to call it, movie played by a woman? Wasn't she like iconic? Like, am I wrong about that? Then why are we saying this is problematic? I don't understand. What do these people have against Princess Leia? That character is badass. No matter how you feel about the Star Wars franchise, and yes, again, and by the way, like Like isn't Star Wars PS, isn't Star Wars like the ultimate in inclusion? They didn't even just include humans, they included all different kinds of species. Jesus, these people just ruin everything. It's like you have the ultimate version of inclusion where you're not just including people of all different races and genders and whatnot. You're being species inclusive. Even of Jar Jar Binks, who is the most annoying character ever in the history of movies. Is that not good enough? Is it not good enough that you are including every major species in the galaxy in your group? Everyone was included. God. As we will argue, our justice oriented products should approach connections to the Jedi and Star Wars with great caution and perhaps even avoid the acronym Jedi entirely. The Jedi are inappropriate mascots for social justice. Although they're ostensibly heroes within the Star Wars universe, the Jedi are inappropriate symbols for justice work. They are a religious order of intergalactic police monks. They're branding them as the police specifically. Holy shit. I'm going to read this full sentence because apparently this full sentence is even better than the first part of the sentence. They are a religious order of intergalactic police monks prone to white saviorism and toxically masculine approaches to conflict resolution, violent duels with phallic lightsabers, gaslighting by the means of Jedi mind tricks. This is in Scientific American. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to read that sentence one more time because that sentence is like the best sentence I've ever read in my life. This is why the Jedi are problematic. The Jedi are a religious order of intergalactic police monks prone to white saviorism and toxically masculine approaches to conflict resolution, violent duels with phallic lightsabers, gaslighting by means of Jedi mind tricks. The Jedis are also an exclusionary cult. They included everyone. Okay. Membership to which is partly predicted on the possession of heightened psychic and physical abilities or force sensitivity. Strikingly, force wielding talents are narratively explained in Star Wars not merely in spiritual terms, but also in ableist and eugenic ones. Holy crap. These supernatural powers are naturalized and biological heredity attributes. So, it is the force potential is framed as a dynastic property of noble bloodlines, for example, the Skywalker dynasty, and force disparities are rendered innate physical properties measurable via MIDI. I don't know what that word is. Sorry. I'm not the Star Wars nut in my family. The heroic Jedi are thus emblems for a host of dangerously reactionary values and assumptions, sending the message that justice work is akin to cosplay is bad enough. Dressing up our initiatives in the symbolic garb of the Jedi is worse. This caution about Jedi can be generalized. We must be intentional about how we name our work and mindful of the associations any name may bring up, perhaps particularly when such names doubles as existing words with complex histories. That's just the first point. Let's keep going. Star Wars has a problematic cultural legacy. The space opera franchise has been critiqued for trafficking in injustices such as sexism, racism, and ableism. Think, for example, of the so-called slave Leia costume infamous for stripping down and chaining up the movie series' first leading woman as part of an Orientalist subplot. Star Wars arguably conflates alienness with non-whiteness. I had no idea this article was going to be so good. Star Wars arguably conflates alienness with non-whiteness, often seeming to rely on racist stereotypes when depicting non-human species. This series regularly defaults into ableist tropes memorable in its portrayal of Darth Vader, which links the villain's physical ability with a mechanic inhumanity and moral deviance, presenting his technology-assisted breathing as sinister auditory marker of danger and doom. What's more, the bodies and voices centered in Star Wars have, with few exceptions, historically been those of white men. And while recent films have increased gender and racial diversity, important questions remain regarding how meaningfully such changes represent a departure from the series' problematic past. Indeed, a notable segment from Star Wars fandom has aggressively advocated the recentering of white men in the franchise while equating recent casting decisions with white genocide. Additionally, the franchise's cultural footprint can be tracked in the saga of the United States military industrial investment and expansion from debates around Reagan's Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative to the planned Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure, another Jedi program, sometimes winkingly framed with Star Wars allusions. Taken together, the controversies surrounding Star Wars make Jedi, at best, an inappropriate way to brand justice work, a kind of double edged sword, or better yet, double bladed lightsaber. At worst, the way of branding our initiatives is frightened with the very violence that our justice work seeks to counter. Man, this is crazy town. I wasn't going to read this whole article, but now I feel like we have to. I feel like if we had played unwoke bingo on this article, someone probably would have gotten a blackout bingo on this article. That's what's going to happen. JEDI connects justice initiatives to corporate capital. JEDI is more than a name, it's a product. Circulating the product's name can promote the benefit of corporation it owns, even if it does not mean to. We're going to get to capitalism. They're going to say capitalism. Watch, they always say capitalism. We are, in effect, providing the corporation, Disney, with a form of free advertising, commodifying and cheapening our justice work in the process. Such informal co-branding entangles our initiatives in Disney's morally messy past and present. It may also serve to rebrand and whitewash Disney by linking one of its signature product lines to social justice. After all, Disney has a long and troubling history of circulating racist, sexist, heterosexist, and orientalist narratives and imagery, which the corporation and its subsidiaries like Pixar are publicly reckoning with because Disney wasn't woke already. Now they're being called out in Scientific American for not being woke enough. Furthermore, Disney is an overtly political entity, critiqued not only for its labor practices but also for its political donations and lobbying. Joining forces with Disney's multimedia empire is thus a dangerous co-branding strategy for justice advocates and activists. This form of inadvertent woke-washing extracts ethical currency from so-called Jedi work, robbing from its moral reserves to farther enrich its corporate capital. They basically said capitalism. Aligning justice work with Star Wars risks threatening inclusion and sense of belonging. While an overarching goal of Jedi initiatives is to promote inclusion, the term Jedi might make people feel excluded. Well, we wouldn't want that. Star Wars is popular, but divisive. Identifying our initiatives with it may nudge those closer to the realm of fandom, manufacturing in-groups and out-groups, those unfamiliar or uncomfortable with Star Wars, including those hurt by the messages it sends, may feel alienated by the parade of jokes, puns, and references surrounding the term Jedi. Consider as one example its gender exclusionary potential. Again, how is this gender exclusionary? Princess Leia was like one of the ultimate female heroes, and now Star Wars is gender exclusionary. Okay. Studies suggest that the presence of Star Wars and Star Trek memorabilia, such as posters, in the computer science classroom can reinforce masculine stereotypes about computer science, contributing to women's sense that they don't belong in the field. Relatedly, research indicates that even for self-identified female fans of Star Wars, a sense of belonging within the fandom can be experienced as highly conditional, contingent upon performances proving their conformity to a pre-existing gender norm of dominant fan culture. At a moment when many professional sectors, including higher education, are seeking to eliminate barriers to inclusion and to change the narrative around who counts as a scientist, political scientist, STEM professional, or historian, adopting a term like Star Wars seems like an ironic move backwards. The abbreviation JEDI can distract from justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. When you think of the word Jedi, what comes to mind? Chances are good that for many, the immediate answer isn't the concept of justice. Instead, this acronym will likely conjure a pageant of spaceships, lightsabers, and blaster wielding stormtroopers. Even if we set aside the four cautions above, the acronym JEDI still evokes imagery that diverts attention from the meanings of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Such distractions exacerbate existing problems and challenges endemic to the institutional justice work. For instance, it is already the case that in institutional contexts, terms like justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are routinely undefined, blah, blah, blah. While we focused our attention on the term Jedi, the cautions above provide us with a list and then they make a list of qualifications. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I actually think that this is a great thing. I think that this is a positive thing. I think that not co opting Star Wars, again, I'm not a Star Wars super fan or anything. That's my husband. But I'm pretty sure my husband is going to feel pretty good about the fact that he doesn't have to worry about the woke left, like, claiming one of his favorite things in the world so that he can still watch the movies and feel good about them. Except for that last set of movies that comes out, he didn't like those at all. So we don't even talk about those. Those are a bad memory.